I'd like to introduce our next panel. It's the mobile panel. I think it's going to be very interesting. We've got some very diverse perspectives on this panel from people who are working with, basically from all the different platforms. We actually have Khan O'Donnell, who will be moderating the panel, and he's the former CEO of Sarmadi and founder of Sarmadi and a very successful mobile entrepreneur. So I'll introduce him, and let him introduce the rest of the panelists, and if you guys will join us on stage.
مساء الخير. السلام عليكم. I'm going to do the major part of this in English, because we might be switching in and out of English and Arabic as we do. نحب نغير كل شوية نرمي كلمة عربي أو نرمي كلمة إنجليزي في النص. But most of the discussion will be in English. I hope that doesn't upset too many of you. Today's been quite an interesting day already. We've just seen from William some amazing statistics on the overall mobile landscape that we're seeing from browsers and internet usage. And we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about mobile applications. We have an enormous amount of entrepreneurial activity going on في الست أشهر اللي فات دول في مصر and in the region. And I feel that Egypt is on the point of leading this space across the region, and hopefully taking over from Jordan as the people that get all the attention. Today I've got a very, very distinguished and diverse panel, and I'll do a quick run through of the names, and then ask each panelist to say a short thing about what they're doing in the mobile app space. I want to keep it very specific to mobile applications. And so first of all, on my left, I've got Gustavo Fuchs from Windows. Actually, if you start off and tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the mobile space.
Thanks, Khan. Thanks for being here. I really love the environment of startups and entrepreneur, and it's great that this is growing in the region. So my name is Gustavo Fuchs. I'm responsible for Windows Phone for Microsoft across Middle East and Africa. As most of you know, we launched Windows Phone December last year globally, and the product availability in this region is still very limited because we want to make sure we go big when we have product capabilities. What we are doing related to mobile apps at this point is really we want to enable developers from the region to be able to monetize users in the developed world. So 6 months ago, we launched a developer portal across the region called Yalla Apps. And after 6 months, we got more than 3,000 developers and 500 apps from the region that users from the developer world are downloading and paying for those apps. And although we don't have broad availability on the phone, we believe that's the first step. Get developers from the region, monetize users from outside until we get a proper product in the market so users and consumers can benefit from those apps as well.
Thank you, Gustavo. On Gustavo's left is Mario Hashim.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mario Hashim. I'm co-founder of Apps2U, and Apps2U is powered by a company called MT2 Mobile Technology Tomorrow. For the last 12 years, we've been supporting all the GSM operators in the region. We've been developing all kinds of mobile services around content and VAS and distribution of this content with all the operators. For the last 3 years, all the operators start asking about apps. They don't want anymore to provide any Islamic content or any ringtones or any type of content to the users by using the oldest way of sending SMS bulk, or that's it. They want to send it inside an app, get the content directly to the users, and make it easier to purchase it. Now, for the last 3 years, we've been supporting all these operators by developing apps on Android, on BlackBerry, iOS, and Nokia. And we founded Apps to You because we have now more than 20 developers developing all kind of apps. We have now Apps to You, and Apps to You is dedicated for this activity inside MT2 Group. And we are developing recently apps to everyone. Enterprises, direct users, educational, any type of apps, not just operators. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. On Mario's left, probably most of you know Mustafa Abu Ghamra, very famous in Egypt, but I'll also let him introduce himself and what he's doing in the mobile app space.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mustafa Abu Ghamra, founder and CEO of Techno Wireless. We started like 10 years ago with the mobility, doing SMS and IVR services, and we moved on with WAP. 2002 we did the Vodafone WAP game tournament, and it was inevitable that we moved to the application development. And because we have revenue streams that you have to fulfill, we focused first on the B2B side, and we specialized more on the traditional media conversion to mobile apps. So we did a lot of newspapers, sports clubs, TV and radio channels, mobile apps, and this practice gave us some good insight about how to deal with the repurposing of traditional media content and turn them into very friendly mobile app application feeds. Recently we started also our B2C mobile applications. We developed Khurugatna, which is out and about kind of directory. We developed also Alam Ayal Ayal for kids, for moms and kids. We developed Safariyatna, which is an application for traveling choices. And we developed also some good Islamic applications for Al-Hajj, Al-Umrah, Mazbaha Electronia, and so on and so forth. The platform that we started with, because of the percentage, was the Nokia. So we started on Nokia platform, and then we moved to the BlackBerry and the iPhone, and now the Android and the Windows. The problems that we're still facing, and I think it's going to be discussed, is how to monetize these applications in the market.
Thank you, Mustafa. And on Mustafa's left is Tariq Mansour, who is the founder and CEO of iPhoneislam.com.
السلام عليكم. طبعا الكل كلمكم انجليزي، انا هتكلم معاكم بالعربي شويه عشان نغير. انا طارق منصور، مؤسس موقع ايفون اسلام. ايفون اسلام اساسا ابتدى ككوميونتي للوطن العربي علشان نثري المحتوى العربي في الاي او اس، اللي هو الاوبريتنج سيستم اللي كان متوقع ان هو يغزو العالم يعني. وفعلا الاي او اس ابتدى ينتشر بشكل كبير، وفعلا كان لينا دور في العالم العربي. عربنا التليفون اول لما طلع، وابتدينا نحط ابلكيشنز على الاب ستور، وعندنا دلوقتي اكتر من 30 ابلكيشن على الاب ستور. عايزين نثري بيهم المحتوى العربي اكتر من الربح. طبعا احنا معانا هنا شركات وحوش يهمهم الربح اكتر من اي حاجه، لكن احنا عايزين نعمل ابلكيشنز لاولادنا، لانه لو سيبنا المحتوى العربي لحد تاني مش فاهم الشرق الاوسط، مش فاهم احنا عايزين ايه، هتطلع ابلكيشن مش على هوانا، مش هي اللي احنا عايزين نوصلها. في نفس الوقت اتضح انه ممكن تعمل حاجه كويسه وتلاقي نفسك كسبت جامد وربحت. فده اللي خلانا نعمل شركه. ايفون اسلام دلوقتي بقت شركه، والشركه بتكبر الحمد لله. عندنا اكتر من 10 ديفلوبرز، وبندور على ديفلوبرز اي او اس، وفرصه كبيره قوي لاي حد ان هو يديفلوب ابلكيشنز للموبايل. زي ما هنتكلم طبعا، هنتكلم عن مواضيع كتيره قوي عن ازاي الديفلوبرز يقدروا يخشوا في مجال الديفلوبينج للموبايل. شكرا.
ثانك يو طارق. ايه اللي شرفك؟ كل الناس هنا عايزين فلوس الاول او ربح. On Tariq's left we have Tom Erskine, who is from Nokia and has just recently joined Nokia. Would you like to talk about your
Yeah,
role.
absolutely. Thank you very much. And Tom Erskine, responsible for our smartphones division in the Middle East and Africa. Real pleasure to be here today, meet all you guys, and be at ArabNet in general. The other thing that brought me to the region today, to Cairo, was the launch of our Nokia Mobile Labs, which we launched in Smart Village today. 400-meter facility. Our colleague Galileo shared a bit more information earlier, but it's all about allowing Egyptian developers to make great apps and monetize them. So that's what also brought me here today, and that's a very exciting development for Nokia, one of the first mobile labs we've deployed in the world. So in terms of our story in general to developers, many of you guys here I hope will be of interest, as well as helping you make these apps. Nokia is trying to bring developers scale and monetization. That's what we're trying to do. You heard in William's excellent speech, we still enjoy some great scale in the region, and we're also looking to help monetize. We've got operator billing with more than 120 operators worldwide. In Egypt, we offer billing through Vodafone, for example, and we're looking to allow developers to make great applications, get scale, and then monetize them. So thank you for your time, and it's a real pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Tom. We're going to kick off the discussion today with probably the most important thing on everyone's mind, which right now, apart from Tariq, is how to make the first £1 million in mobile apps. So who's going to make the first $1 million in Egypt on mobile apps as a developer or as a startup? Okay, there's a lot of startups here, there's a lot of energy, and there's a lot of confusion about how I'm going to turn this energy and this great idea into money. So I'm going to rely on this distinguished panel with all the experience that they have, and some of them have made a good amount of money, to share with you the paths to revenue. And I'm going to put in a little bit of a stopper to begin with, is that I don't believe that we should be talking about advertising as our mainstay for monetizing our app. So I'm looking for alternatives to what we've been relying upon now, which is a very, very small pie in terms of advertising revenues. We saw the comparisons there that William was talking about. There's not a lot of money being spent on digital in the first place, so let's not rely on that for our mobile app. So who would like to be the first person on the panel to tackle this issue? Mario, would like to have a go at this one?
Yeah. Now, it depends on who you will develop this app. If you want to develop an app and make money every day out of it, so you better go to, for us till now, until today, and for the last 3 years, we have offices in Saudi Arabia to support this huge, as per William, with his huge market. We have also offices in Dubai, Lebanon is our headquarters, and Egypt. Now, when you develop an app, everybody, I don't know why they don't like to do it with the operator, even if they take the 50% cut of your money. I don't know. For us, when they do the advertising, they send the application, like there is something with BlackBerry RIM called virtual preload. They send it silently. You woke up, you have the application inside your phone. Now, they do all the marketing, all the campaign, even if the application is branded or no. We are doing a lot of money and traffic out of apps with the operators. We tried B2C and B2B. Now, it depends if the client is paying the amount of the development, which is sometimes till today, because of there is not too much awareness about the app and the capability of the app with your company or your brand to put it on the inside an app. I don't know. They are not paying a lot. That's why we are focusing on the operators, and another activity in parallel, trying to push harder to sell apps to government companies or hospitals or insurance companies, or even augmented reality using Android for advertising agencies. So we are doing both, and to be able to keep in the market, to stay in the market, we are focusing on the operator.
So this is you're not doing much in the B2C?
We are doing in the B2C, but there is not too much need, or they don't till today pay too much. They don't pay $3,000 for an app.
No, I wouldn't pay.
This is for 4 platforms.
Okay, let's move the question along. Just tweak it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're a small startup and you've got an idea for an application, not always do you have access to the operators. They're big and they're hard to get to. They're not the most accessible to people always to get in the door. You have to reach a certain type of scale and before they'll even talk to you. So on a startup thing, how would you start off?
That's why you work with Nokia. Nokia support our developers. You work with Microsoft. You work with Android. They are helping all developers. They are providing devices, money, competitions, all this stuff to help any small startup developers to jump and develop apps and publish it on their stores. That's it.
Tom, you've got some experience on this side from the recent sort of hookup with operators in terms of using their billing mechanism. Can you tell us a little bit more how that's going?
Of course, and I think it's a great question. It's a salient question. If you're a developer today in Egypt, how do you go and start to make money? And I think, let me talk from the Nokia perspective, you know, and I'll let the other guys talk from their perspective. From our perspective, you know, we're about making it easy for people to publish apps. You know, as I say, we've got this Nokia Mobile Labs, which we opened today just around the corner. And we want to make that side as easy as possible. In terms of monetization, the angle we're taking globally and also within this region is we're pushing operator billing. Operators are our partners at Nokia. We work really closely with them. And we're seeing now internationally, we've actually got more than 120 operators offering billing through the Nokia Ovi store. In Egypt today, we have Vodafone. We hope to get more operators very soon. And we really are starting to see a trend that when you have billing enabled on the store and it's working well in terms of user experience, more and more people by the month are actually opting to pay for an application. So we're seeing on Vodafone plenty of consumers now, not as many as we'd like, paying, you know, £3.50 to download an application, whether it's a game or a Ramadan app. And we're starting to see that ramp up month on month. We think that when we have all the operators in Egypt enabled, that pie will get bigger. The other thing we want to talk about as well is that as well as monetizing within Egypt, because we have operator billing across the region, including in Saudi Arabia, we actually see Egyptian developers today making more money through downloads happening of their apps in Saudi Arabia than within Egypt. So work with us, we can offer the billing, and as well as monetization in Egypt, we can offer it in other territories. So we're seeing it's not there yet, Con, but the trends are good, and it's starting to get significant.
I'd like to maybe ask Mustafa or Tariq to take up their next point, which is a follow-on from this. A lot of people say that, you know, people don't want to pay for apps. They'll crack the app, they'll crack the handset, they'll do anything they can to get the free stuff. Okay, so do you feel that for the end consumers with billing in place, and there's already billing through credit cards on app stores, and now there's billing through Nokia Ovi store, and I'm sure this is going to be the trend. Do you think that there's going to be a change in the cultural set of people looking for value rather than free?
I'd like to comment about first, I'd like to emphasize the fact that if application is the king or content is the king, billing is King Kong. It's the ability to take micropayment from the consumer. That's the most important thing. And believe it or not, none of what we've been talking about is the most used facility for payment. The premium SMS and the premium IVR up until this moment are the mostly used and generating more revenue for mobile downloads. And the model that we see on TVs for service providers who have now went from the ringtone arena and the competition arena to the apps is still consuming a lot of traffic for the content download. Whether you will be able to develop an application and cut a deal with these service providers and these TV stations and these media gurus, that's another question. But this has been always locked for certain players in the market. While going to Ovi Store or even going to iTunes is open for everybody. However, we still see the traffic very minimal. And it is not only about billing. Billing is part, but it's also about advertising about your application. If you have the best application and you have your application available on all stores and all vehicles for payment, still you have to get people aware about it. So that's another dimension that eats and erosion to your margin. If we download an application for £5, the operator will take half of it, 2.5, and then the media partner is going to take another 40% of the remaining 2 جنيه ونص. So you will end up with another جنيه ونص. For out of the £5, you're only getting 1.5 Egyptian pound. That's very little. We've been talking to operators to make differences between the ringtone download payment and application payment, but it is not yet working well. Hopefully they will understand this and make it fruitful for us to go on. There is another techniques also for payment, which is the payment processors coming to the country like Fawri and eMasari and B, and I hope that you recognize these names. They're people that will connect to you and will collect the money on your behalf and give you your cut. They will take much lesser percentage. They're talking about 3 to 5%. However, this is still in the growth. The other payment that succeeded in some very, very narrow trials is the scratch card. You can print your own scratch card and distribute with the people who distribute the prepaid cards, and people can download your application for free and get it activated using the scratch card. This is also one of the techniques that we've tried very much to make it happen, but Mazika failed to make it happen. Arpo Plus did and failed to make it happen. We did and we failed to make it happen. But with the folks from Cashew and One Card, I think there's a good opportunity to because there are platforms, a card that can be used in many payment mechanism. So it is famous and it's available especially in Saudi and in the Gulf. And I won't talk about advertising, as you said.
Yeah, let's keep advertising. It's a model that everyone understands anyway, and I don't think the advertising and media panel, it was their job to do that for us. Tariq, would you like to add something? You're very specific to the iPhone and the iPhone world, and it doesn't connect at all with an operator billing system. And it does, so if you were of a mind to make money out of apps at some point, how would you advise people on the iPhone side?
Is 15 million is enough money? Sure. Angry Bird is a very good example for application on one operating system that make $1 million of dollars. And this operating system is iOS. And we can see that on Windows, and we can see that on Nokia. Developers can target not just the Middle East. Developer can target the world. As a developer, you want a revenue, and you can reach this revenue from worldwide. So why we keep as developers looking at the Middle East only? As you can do both. You can have revenue from international applications, and you can have revenue from Arabic applications. Even if Arabic application didn't make a good revenue, it still pays for itself, and your international application can make a good revenue, so you can make a huge company.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Mario.
Rovio, who are the companies that built Angry Birds, they developed 10 games. I met them in Barcelona last year. They developed 10 games, and Angry Bird was 11. And Angry Bird was the success story of their library of games, and till today they don't know why the 10 games didn't do the same success. They told me that the 10 games before are better and I don't know, lovely more than Angry Bird. Now, if you want to make money out of apps, I'm talking now to developers. Develop apps for any B2B business, for any company that wishes to have her brand on iOS or on BlackBerry, or if they're a bank, they have 100K users, develop an app for them, take money directly from this business, from this company. Or develop an app and publish it on OV Store or iOS. But in this way, this direction, ask why Nokia today they are doing the operator billing because credit card is not well penetrated in our region. There is no e-commerce in our regions. They don't like credit cards. It's not trusted. Maybe I don't know. But till today, BlackBerry are trying to do the operator billing. Nokia is not in all the region, right? It's in Saudi Arabia and here, and it's not yet finished. You know, so you can develop app and depend on the credit card users, but you will not make too much money. Let me give you a case study. We developed an application that for Gaddafi, you kickbox him and you do whatever. And we did a small study and small exercise. We made a campaign on AdMob and waited till our app get live on top one chart of top paid apps on iTunes. In less than 12 hours, it's number one. iTunes gives you the results the second day. We waited second day. I thought I have 100,000 downloads or something from Saudi Arabia because it was the campaign dedicated for Saudi. It was 62. So 62 download made me number one top paid application. I don't know. I stopped doing this. Now I prefer to develop an application for a restaurant and take his delivery menu and make it on iOS application available for his customers rather than do this. At the moment. Maybe in 1 year or 2 years it will change. The third way is directly with the operators, which we are doing our job now. That's it.
Can I just make a little comment for what the gentleman just said? Because for the record, what he just said is my historical mistake. I confess that for 12 years doing my company, I focused on the B2B. And I've been very successful in building and taking money from customers for building them services on the SMS and IVR, and now on the iPhone and the BlackBerry application suite. That creates a very healthy P&L for the company, but it does not create a value for the company. The value comes from what you own. If I had built 2 or 3 portals and mobile apps 5 years ago, we would have been, as a value of the company, in a much different place. So if you guys are excited about bringing in an investor or a VC, you should also focus on the B2C, on the product that you own and you're going to take care of until it gets bigger.
I think I want to hear Gustavo's partake in this about Microsoft's approach to solving the billing and getting into this as well. And then we'll move on to those kind of challenges that you're talking about, and whether to go for something that's a hybrid between I've got to eat every day, and so I've got to do something that maybe is not the best thing for my value, but I want to keep somehow my eyes on the prize, which is creating something unique and can be a global winner. The next Angry Birds, let's say, which is the dream of everyone. So first of all, Gustavo, would you like to add Microsoft's
I think there is an important point here is most of the platforms today, because of piracy of apps, right? You mentioned about people who are not willing to pay. And as a user, I feel that I'm very resistant to pay for something that I cannot try. And most of the app stores today don't give us a capability of say, I want to download something as a try, making it easier for the developer as well. And if I like, if it's a game, I click buy after playing the first phase and I download the next phase. So I think the app stores needs to support such functionality in order to enable developers. The second thing is there should be models where you can sell your IP, your Angry Birds, but also for 0.99 cents or £5 across, but also have specific deals with the operators or manufacturers in a way that say, oh, if you have a specific phone, this apps comes for free. If you have all other phones, these apps cost £5. I think that's a model that's very important. And talking about Arabic apps, I don't know the specific numbers of Egyptians, but it's very well known that there are more Lebanese outside Lebanon than in Lebanon. So even if you're talking about, Arabic apps, there's a lot of people out there, out of our region, that probably has more desire and appetite to buy apps that you can still target Arabic or regional apps. So we need to look at this opportunity, and there are a lot of countries outside the region that do this very well, and I see no reason why Egyptian developers or developers across the region can look at that and say, I don't have 100 million people that I can target. I actually have 1 billion people that I can target, and why not the next Angry Bird, let's suppose a falcon bird, can come from Egypt?
Yeah, it does change the paradigm for you that you have a global market while you're sitting in your bedroom tapping away on the keyboard and access to the app stores for free. Yeah, Tom, would you like to add something to that?
Very quick point, just a couple of proof points to that. A couple of the gentlemen were saying, so first of all, yes, I think there's an opportunity overseas from Egypt for Arabic. So a company called Asgatech, we've worked with, and they've had some success, again, with Ramadan apps in Saudi Arabia. But the other point, which Mustafa was saying, was it doesn't have to be the Arabic either. So another company, good news for me, that we've worked with in games, they've actually had a lot of success in Russia with the games they've made. So again, supporting Gustavo's point, there's monetization around the world. I think, yes, other Arabic markets, but also Egyptian innovators can target non-Arabic markets as well. So just a couple of examples.
Okay, I'd like to move on to the next part of the discussion, and that is with a lot of developers and companies who set up to do development, whether they're doing it B2B or B2C, the first hurdle that they have to overcome is choosing a platform or deciding to go multiple platforms or trying to do some kind of hybrid with this thing. And maybe the future is HTML5 if you're not so dependent on the native. So what's your take on native versus generic or creating what can be 4 times as expensive a development cycle by going for an Android and an iPhone, and then doing something for Nokia for the Nokia. Did I forget anyone? Yeah, I probably did. Anyway, there's four of them. Okay, so what would you say would be the best path, proven success rates? You've got a lot of experience. First of all, I'll start with Mario. Tell us about your
Don't
take.
worry, we'll make you some discounts if you want to develop on all platforms. Now, ArabNet this year, I think they will develop an app on HTML5. They don't care how to develop it on 5 platforms. It's a matter of the content inside and the features that you want to put inside the application. These 2 points gives you the answer on which to go on something called cross-platform or HTML5 or native applications. Now, usually to have a super app with push notifications, with location-based services, with geolocation, I don't know, all kind of, let's say, good features. I think if you want a successful application, go to native development. Now, if you have something like less complex or
like news,
go to cross-platform or HTML5. This is the right decision, and we do consultancy when a client came to us, or the operator himself is if he's asking for an app, it's just a guide. Let's go to HTML5 or something less native or cross-platform. This is my answer. Thank you.
Mustafa, you want to add to that?
So I think that is an important point, which is the best platform for you to monetize the app you're looking for. And maybe at the first look, as a developer, you're going to choose where you have most apps. So like iOS or Android. Yeah, you have 300 plus and 400 plus thousand apps. But how is your app going to behave in that? Are the users going to be able to find it? Are they going to be able to buy it? And so forth. So depending on where you're focused, if it's a game or if it's something very much dedicated, it might be worth for you to look at a smaller ecosystem, but you can monetize better, maybe through operator billing or other methods. And try to fill out the categories in that ecosystem that's not yet filled. So if you have, for example, let's suppose a prayer time apps, something very regional, I would bet that if you try to build a new one for iOS or Android, you already have 100 plus apps that are in that environment. And your chances to differentiate are quite difficult. But if you look for another ecosystem or a smaller ecosystem then you really have the chance to make something that the users will get hooked up since the beginning.
Okay, there's something probably before that is that the market that you're going to be addressing, each market has slightly different mix of between Android, iOS, Nokia, and Windows, and so on. We have a bit of a problem in the region of non-published data, very difficult to find numbers of data usage. Even we might know that in a country, for example, you have it, can you give it to us? For example, in Egypt, there are more BlackBerry users than there are iPhone users. We know this, I think it's double. But there's more data consumed by far, 10 times on the iPhone than there is on the BlackBerry. So just for getting one number, like double the number of BlackBerry and Nokia, sorry to ignore Nokia, I'm not really ignoring you. Just raw numbers need to be actually looked at deeper as well. You can it's very tempting to say, well, there's lots of BlackBerry users, so I'll do a BlackBerry app. Well, what do BlackBerry users know about apps in the first place could be the question. So you gotta add some things about how people can get the knowledge and take it from there.
Since we have a very good relationship with more than 34 GSM telco operators, and when they ask for an application, they send it and ask for the platforms that they wish this application to be on. For example, I'll give you numbers in UAE now. UAE, you have 4 BlackBerry to 1 iOS. Okay, you have in Etisalat only more than 600,000 BlackBerry. Now, in Mobile in Saudi Arabia, it's something else. Mobile has around 400,000 BlackBerry, and STC has more than 1 million. Now, Zain has less than 100,000. Now, who are the users? Now, Nokia users are much more by far, but the BlackBerry user or iOS user, by the way, Saudi Arabia is 3 to 1. Now, iOS user or BlackBerry user is the user who spend money now because this is a fact. The phone is expensive. They have lots of money, and they are paying for BlackBerry. For example, in Lebanon, we pay $40 per month to have a BlackBerry service. Imagine. So these users, if you want to target them, they have more money than other users who has maybe Samsung devices or Nokia device. Everybody has now a BlackBerry or 2 BlackBerry now. The girls, we have a study that says 70% of the girls in Saudi Arabia has BlackBerry. Now, with these numbers that I'm trying to share today, I'm pushing any developer to consider these numbers and to know at the moment for which platform to develop and to target his app.
Tariq, can you add, I don't know if you might know this number, but how many Egyptian iPhone users have never used the store?
بالنسبة
I mean,
للمستخدمين
it's an expensive phone, right?
yes
iPhone 4 is
Yes.
expensive, okay, and it's
Yes.
an app phone, it's built for apps.
and I have numbers here. We have about 1.5 million downloads for our application in 3 months. 1.5 million. 80% from this is from Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
بس خليني اكلم، عايز اعرف في كام ديفلوبر قاعد هنا. كويس جدا. دلوقتي الديفلوبرز عايزين يعملوا عايزين يحققوا نجاح في الابلكيشنز، وانت سالت انهي بلاتفورم اللي ممكن يشتغل عليه. دلوقتي زي ما قال انه الاوبريتنج سيستم مهم عدد المستخدمين فيه، بس المهم برضو اكتر مين ويلنج انه يدفع في اوبريتنج سيستم اكتر من التاني. يعني زي ما انت قلت بلاك بيري ممكن يكون عدد المستخدمين فيه اكتر بكتير، لكن في الاي او اس الناس ويلنج ان هي تدفع اكتر. بعدين في حاجه تانية كمان، في كلتشر الاي او اس والاوبريتنج سيستم زي اللي بتدعم العربي بشكل كويس. لحد دلوقتي الويندوز ما بيدعمش العربي، الاندرويد ما بيدعمش العربي نيتيف، لازم تعريب مخصوص ليه. فلحد دلوقتي الاوبريتنج سيستم رقم واحد اللي بيحقق دخل على ما اعتقد انه في السمارت فون هو الاي او اس. عدد المستخدمين كبير بالنسبه للاي او اس اللي بيشتروا ابلكيشنز. فلحد ما تتغير المعادله دي، واكشوالي اكيد هتتغير، اكيد الاندرويد قاعد بيكبر، وفي فرصه كبيره جدا للديفلوبرز ان هو يبتدي في الاندرويد. احنا ابتدينا في ايفون اسلام، في الاي او اس كان لسه بادئ، فحققنا شهره ونجاح وقريبين من الجمهور. الاندرويد مفيش دلوقتي، ففي فرصه كبيره قوي للديفلوبرز انه يبتدي في الاندرويد، في فرصه كبيره قوي انه يبتدي مع نوكيا، في فرصه كبيره قوي انه يبتدي مع ويندوز فون. فالفرصه اكبر بكتير انه هو يبتدي زي ما قال انه في حوالي 500 الف ابلكيشن في الاب ستور، بقى صعب ان حد يلاحظك. فالفكره انه لو احنا ابتدينا في الاول هنحتاج فعلا دعم، بس لازم يكون في شباب موهوب عايز يعمل حاجه، لازم يكون شغوف. ايه اللي خلى ابل تبقى شركه ابل؟ بلاحظ ان معظم الشركات ما عندهاش شغف بالبرودكت بتاعها، يعني بتطلع الابلكيشن من غير ما تكون الابلكيشن في حب ما بينه وما بين الابلكيشن، عشان كده ما تطلعش ابلكيشن كويس. فالفكره انه عشان خاطر احقق نجاح لازم يكون في شغف للبرودكت اللي انا بطلعه الاول. يعني زي ما سمعنا في بانرز قبل كده، لازم يكون عندك برودكت كويس الاول وبعدين هو هيعلن عن نفسه. ليه ريفينيو 10 جيمز ما حققتش نجاح وجيم واحده حققت نجاح؟ لان فيها عناصر النجاح، فيها اصوات كويسه، فيها موسيقى كويسه، فيها لافلي بيرد زي البيردز اللي الناس كلها بتحبها. فالفكره في عنصر نجاح لازم يتحقق. فهنا احب اقول للديفلوبرز انه لازم اولا يكون شغوف ويختار حاجه لسه بادئه علشان خاطر يبتدي معاها، علشان يبقى ليه اسم في الشرق الاوسط بالذات.
Thank you. Did you want to say something on that? Gustav?
I think for new developers, if you're evaluating to build an application today, we know that there is a cycle of development between 3, 6, or 12 months, depending on how complex is the app. And look at what is the current success, but look also what are the predictions in terms of operating systems, so you can, when you're ready, you actually know what you're targeting.
Okay. Does anybody want to add anything on this topic before we move on to the next one?
I'd like, because this is extremely dangerous. The probability of success for an application, if we're talking about, is very minimal. We're talking about less than 2 to 3% for an application. And no matter how you perfect it or you design it good, there is a great percentage of luck, things that you have no control over. So you have to make sure that it is not the end of the tunnel if you do your best and design it well and launch it right and you don't make it. That's a very, very important. You have to try and again and again and again and again. And that tells you that you should always start by testing. And when you test, you collect the data, you feedback from your audience, the early birds that comes and use your application. And if they tell you something good, you focus on this and you let go the unimportant negative side of the application. And you keep optimizing the application until it reaches success, or you abandon and you move on to another trip of trials. For choosing which platform, the platforms are countries. They're completely different. It's more than an ecosystem. It's a completely different country. When you're talking about Nokia folks, when you're talking about the iPhone folks, when you're talking about the Android folks, the Windows folks, the ecosystem, the user himself is a completely different personality. So if you focus on the persona of the users, it can tell you whether your application should go to the iPhone country or the Nokia country.
That's a couple of very good points there. The whole point, I mean, whichever startup you're in, anywhere in the world, usually the first, second, and third editions of what you do are not the big success. And in Angry Birds is a great story where the perseverance to really continue with a vision of 9, 10, and then the 11th game makes it. And I think the expectations are very high these days about, I've got a startup, and me and my friends, and we're down بنعمل حاجات مع بعض ومجهود. Very, very rare, and very, very rare you'll make it on the first day out. So you have to sort of think of it like Lego. Build it up, and then you can take pieces and pull it back down again, and then build something new. You get the experience, you get the exposure every time, and eventually you'll get it. I wanted to move back to something. Before we move on to taking some questions from the audience, which we'd like to do today, it was mentioned about the role of operators in the ecosystem, and the operator has had a very long relationship with the end user. In Egypt, 10 years, 11 years, and they have, they often think that they own the end user somehow, and the 50% that they ask for is because of that ownership. So in the last few years, the world has changed, and with the emergence, first of all, definitely of the iPhone, and the iTunes Store has taken away completely the power from the operator. How do you see the operators evolving, and how fast are they to evolve? And where do you see the role of an operator? How do you see the war sort of unfolding between operators and the Googles and the Androids and the iTunes of the world? Let's have a look at, and Microsoft. Yeah, let's have a look at the evolving battle that we're going to see.
Operators have failed on leapfrogging, right? That's why internet players such as Google created proposition directly to users like Apple. As software players, we need to create opportunities for the operators to catch up, but also add their value, because there is value, a lot of value in what operators do. So I feel this is evolving to a point where there is an offer directly from manufacturers such as Microsoft, Google, Apple, Nokia, and so forth. But we need to take into consideration what are the areas operators add value. Let's suppose apps that are exclusive for operators as part of our marketplace, instead of them creating their own, and making sure they are recognized for that, because they are bringing additional value such as billing users directly, therefore helping developers. And absolutely delivery. So I'm not supportive of the concept of, oh, we are becoming a pipe. I think they are not, as long as they jump into the new opportunities on monetizing apps and being part of additional ecosystems.
Let's go straight around. Let's go around this way and let's have a different take on this.
This question اللي هحكي بالعربي.
ماشي.
اوكي.
هتشتم حد ولا ايه؟
لا لا احكي عربي لبناني.
عربي عشان شتيمة.
عربي لبناني
اقوى.
اوكي. لا. By the way, I hate operators. I hate them. Yeah. The thing is, الموضوع هلا شو عم نعمل؟ operators اليوم من وراء ابل he's outside. بيطلع مصاري من الداتا. That's it. بالاب وورد مع بلاك بيري he's trying to make something maybe next year. مع اوفي and نوكيا ابتدوا صح؟ Windows I don't know the plan. and ما بدهم يقعدوا برا بالكونتنت. قرروا يعملوا اب ستورز. بعدني جاي من جايتكس. We launched with اتصالات BlackBerry application portal. No registration, no credit card, nothing. بتحمله. You select any content free or paid. بتشوف السعر. طبعا السعر بالدرهم. You select it and you download it. automatically بيروح على البيل. اوكي؟ هذا عملناه مع اتصالات branded. سويناه مع موبايلي من 3 اشهر. فيفا البحرين و12 اوبريتور تانيين مش براندد. هم عايزين يعملوا بورتل على الموبايل. كان عندهم بورتل كلهم على الويب، كلهم عندهم بورتل على الانترنت، ناو بدهم بورتل على الموبايل. هلا سموه ستور، هلا حيسموه مول او سوبر ماركت. It's a way to give content to all the users in the network and benefit ال 50% هيدي. That's why I hate operators. Okay? but مجبورين صح؟ now عم نشتغل على اندرويد ستور وعم نشتغل على نوكيا ستور. اوكي؟ عملنا شيء مع ايجيا سيل بالعراق. اتس بورتل اسمه العب مع ايجيا سيل. فيه جاست جيمز. هلا تيروحوا على اوفي ستور ويحط كريدت كارد واونلاين ويشتري الجيم. you will never do it. The user one single touch he sent a premium SMS or automatic billing and he has the content. أسرع حاجة أهين شيء. That's why yes we are supporting now the stores branded and non-branded for operators.
Thank you. Mustafa, would you like to give us your experience or where you see it going in the future?
Okay,
near and far?
I think the operators are very rich people because they make a lot of money from the calls, and the calls still comprise like 97% of the revenues, and the focus on whatever value-added services is going to propose is going to be as minimal as possible. And the good thing also about the operators that everything they want to do, they call somebody to come and do it for them against fees. So that's a good opportunities for companies like the gentleman to bid and win the opportunity and take the money, and that's it. But whether are they going to succeed to become part of the ecosystem, they have the billing. As I said, if content is king, billing is King Kong. They have a very good way of billing. Though some of the operators in our regions, their billing system sucks, so their ability to make micropayment doesn't really exist. Nokia has managed to connect to how many you just said in the region?
Well, in the region, just in Egypt and Saudi, but more than 120 globally. More
Okay.
in the region to come.
Okay, but I think you will find it very difficult to continue on because the billing system of the operator are not that sophisticated to do the billing. But they can do it for themselves. So when they create a store, they have the ability to take money from the consumer. The second thing is that they own the data. They have a visibility of everything going on their network. So they know which game, they know which consumer, they know who needs what. Whether they are using it or not, that's another question. Whether they are going to share it with us or not, that's a second question. And this has created a very hot area between the developers and the companies that are trying to get into this market and the operators. So we started to hate each other. And when Nokia created their OV stores, everybody whistled and yelled, we're very happy, let's go ahead and do it, because they're exclusive rights for billing. If we can break it, hopefully in the future, this is going to put pressure on the operator to trim down the percentage and be more visible with their data.
Thank you. Very good points.
رح اضيف حاجه بس شغله صغيره. الستورز تبع الاوبريتورز فاتحين مجال لاني ديفلوبر ومش بس فاتحين مجال يعني بيساعدوه للاخر to develop local around local content application للبلد يلي هو فيه. And they will publish it and put it as featured and يعلنوا عليه ويساعدونا developers and they are doing competition as well operators عشان يساعدوا developers تيحطوا الابس على stores.
بس في الريجن كله اسالك سؤال تاني عندهم نفس ال 50% اللي موجوده في مصر ولا في الستورز
everywhere is 50%.
ماشي.
هلا we are pushing we're trying to ننزلها شوي بس it's hard.
طيب let's listen to طارق from the 30%
الاول يعني في خلاصه طلعت من الموضوع ان الكونسيومرز بيهيت الاوبريتورز والديفلوبرز بيهيت الاوبريتورز. عايز اعرف مين بيحب الاوبريتورز.
لا انا شفت ويب سايت انا بحب
انا بحب فودافون. واضح انه everybody hates operator. انا شايف ان هم المفروض يشتغلوا على الموضوع ده شويه يعني. بالنسبه للابل ابل عامله 30% طبعا it's very good.
واندرويد 25.
واندرويد لحد النهارده they don't allow us in Middle East to pay for our application. So it's so hard. نعم. نوكيا 30 بيتكلم على الاندرويد. بيتكلم على اندرويد till now we don't allow to make a commercial application on Android in Middle East.
Where's the Google people?
Google, I don't know. There. Apple it's a good chance. 30% it's very reasonable. Marketing is very good. Developing tool SDK is very good also. وكمان الماركت بتاع الوطن العربي ما فيش ابلكيشنز، ما فيش ديفلوبرز كتير. تعال النهارده نشوف مين الاي او اس، مين نمبر 1. في الاي او اس. المفروض نسمع اسم بيج كمباني، لكن للاسف ما فيش لحد دلوقتي بيج كمباني ديفلوبينج فور اي او اس. ففي فرصه كبيره قوي للمطورين الفرديين ان هو يحط الابلكيشن على الاب ستور ويحقق منها عائد كبير، لانه لحد دلوقتي ما فيش عندنا حاجه زي جيم لوفت، ما فيش حاجه عندنا زي شركه كبيره تمسك تهاندل الاي او اس، وفي فرصه كبيره قوي. ف نعتبر لحد النهارده بالنسبه لنا احنا الاي او اس هو البيست تشويس فور اس يعني
لغايه النهارده.
لغايه النهارده.
Well, Tom, if you can bring us back to the to the operators.
Yes, so I'm not going to comment specifically on operators. We've had a good discussion there. Part of your question, Con, was how do we see things evolving? And I'll tell you something. I've worked in telecoms and tech for more than 12 years, including 4 operators for media companies, for startups. And I actually think now, and 2012 will be one of the most interesting years ever in the world of telecoms tech. And the reason is we're seeing a number of stakeholders start to emerge. We're seeing operators, of course. We're seeing handset manufacturers like Nokia, Samsung, HTC, someone called Apple. We're also seeing software platforms become more and more important. Android, Windows Phone, iOS. And I think the thing that happened recently, which makes things extremely interesting, was actually Google's purchase of Motorola, because we're yet to really see how that plays out. But for me, I guess it's a bit geeky, but I'm extremely interested in what happens ahead. I don't really know, but we're kind of seeing a war of ecosystems emerging, and I'm not sure how it's going to play out. So that's what I say, cryptic, but I think it's going to be very interesting, and I think it's one of the most interesting times ever, really, in telecoms and tech.
Okay, so if you guys don't mind, I'd like to open up questions and take questions from the floor. So guys, if you'd like to ask specific questions, just tell us who you are briefly and what your question is, and if you want to address it to a certain person, address it to them, or tell me, and I'll choose one of them. Okay. Yes, I have a question. Dana, do you have a microphone?
Assalamu alaikum. Rufaida Aoud, software developer. I want to ask about what do you think of the future for BlackBerry? If there is any opportunity for BlackBerries to make any future, although it is really downgrading and very outdated APIs and doesn't catch up with things trending like iOS and Android and things like that. I really believe BlackBerry is just going down. Do you still see any opportunity or future in the BB?
Okay, who wants to take on the BlackBerry
Thank
question
you.
first? We can,
I was going to say you should give that one to Gustavo, but
I'll take it. I'm sure he'll be happy to take
I can
it.
say I hope not.
I was going to say actually that you read these things, you read in the press about the outages on BBM, but we still see a lot of consumers purchasing BlackBerries, and we still see them as a very powerful brand in the region. So in terms of the future, as per my previous comment, I don't know how the future will pan out, but I just say at the moment we see plenty of consumers looking to buy their products.
And it might depend on what BlackBerry decide to do and buy into them, because they haven't acquired anything for quite a long time. So, anyone else want to add anything to that? BlackBerry down or up or?
Okay. We are BlackBerry Alliance members, by the way. And regarding BlackBerry is the most faster device who arrived to the Middle East. Actually, RIM now is depending on the Middle East to stay in the market.
They're moving their offices here, are they?
I don't know. Yeah, in the US you have iPhone versus Android, and maybe Android more. In Europe, it's iPhone, it's iOS, and less BlackBerry. In the Middle East, it's BlackBerry. Now with BlackBerry 7, which is very powerful OS just released, I think they will stay there because our region depends on something called social networking, and they will not easily stop using BBM. It's part of their culture now. They cannot stop using BBM that just easily. It's a social network of BBM. It's very, very popular now. It's well used in our region, especially in Saudi Arabia and UAE and the rest. Now, BBM is the most powerful thing in BlackBerry, and they are trying to improve and adding with trying to release new phones. It will decrease maybe, but not that down.
And from the other perspective,
Yeah.
still the App Store experience, and as a developer, is tough. The SDKs are not very clear. The store experience for the user, until very recently, was a very tough
Yeah.
thing. I haven't tried it recently because I threw away my BlackBerry. It's a confession. So it's okay about the BBM, but we're moving into an application world, and BlackBerry doesn't feel like.
Recently, they hired a team to support developers. It's just recently, 4 or 3 months ago, they hired a team to support all developers, to push them, to help them, to push apps on AppWorld and help them the same they are doing Ovi and the Microsoft.
Does anyone think it's too little, too late, or do you think they're still in the game? Okay.
I think they need to find a partner. I don't see BlackBerry over long term. I don't think it's completely a drop. Again, adoption in the region is quite big, but over a long period, there will be 3 ecosystems, and BlackBerry needs to decide which one they want to join.
Okay. We have a question from Mohammed Layouti.
Hi, I'm from Vodafone, so I'm the operator you guys were talking about.
We all love you over
Yeah.
here.
Thank you. Yeah.
You wanna come and
So
sit?
actually, you said 2 things that are contradicting, and I want to understand how we can improve that. In the first half of the panel, you were saying that carriers are key because of the billing, and then to enable the ecosystem. And the second part, you were saying that you don't like operators. So what is it that we operators need to do in order to bridge this gap, in order to benefit from the things that we have, and to also overcome the points that you have issues with?
Who wants to be the friend of the operator and tell them give them some advice?
I was going to say one of these gentlemen should take the mantle with that one. I think.
You both of you work closely with
Yes.
operators. So what should they change in their outlook?
I think you should be open-minded for accepting applications on your portals to promote them. It is not yet easy for people, especially small companies, to come and cut an agreement with you in order to post their application or Vodafone Live. Actually, sometimes it gets harder to the extent that you need to have a very, very strong contact inside the company in order to be able to post the application. For many years, my company tried to post our application on Vodafone Live, despite the fact that we've managed to do it on many portals, on Ovi and iTunes, and we did a lot of downloads and traffic, but we have unfortunately failed to do this with Vodafone because of the closed mind you have on what exactly you should put on the portal and what you shouldn't. That's one thing. The other thing is that long ago, probably 3-4 years, you used to share data with the small companies about the traffic and who's doing what, which give guidance to the market with what way to go and develop. If you do these 2 things, you are going to win the prize of
Best loved operator in Egypt.
am I right or wrong about this?
Well, we're aware that these were there, and that we're working with we launched last month a developer portal with SDKs we launched a developer portal with SDKs, forums, and an online process to publish apps directly onto our store. It's currently in beta. We're going full launch later this month. So I think this should fix one of the issues. And the future analytics will come as part of the roadmap. So that also, I think, will fix your 2 problems. Okay? All right.
So the main point of developing something, in case it's an app or a service with the operators, the main point that you should do or start doing it, decrease the percentage of your revenue sharing. You don't have maybe capex to pay for the solution. You are going with everybody on revenue share. Decrease this percentage, make it 30%, and help more with the advertising, push more. Let me ask you one question. What are you doing for the iOS people, for the iOS developers in this room? What you are helping them? Nothing. I know, but take for example other operators. What they did, they created an account, let's say Vodafone account on the store, and ask developers, come give me your app, I publish it, I send it to all the iPhone users in my network. You know them, you know how much, you know the numbers, you know when they call, when they hang up, you know everything. Take the app, put it on your account, and then send a massive bulk SMS or whatever to all your iPhone users, and tell them to install the app, which is might be light version and then paid version, and share the 35% remaining of the 70 that you are getting with the developers. That's it. Maybe you can do this. We don't hate you too much. We hate you.
Let's take a question. You had your hand up first over there at the back.
السلام عليكم. عبد الرحمن سعيد، فاوندر اركب ايه. انا كنت عايز اسال سؤال بس لنوكيا. الناس هنا دلوقتي بتتكلم عن الاي او اس والاندرويد. ويندوز موبايل 7 راح فين؟ النكست في نوكيا ايه، الويندوز موبايل ولا السيمبيان؟ ولو ويندوز موبايل نزل لنوكيا، الموبايلات القديمه هتتفعل عليها خدمه الويندوز موبايل ولا لا؟ او الابلكيشن اللي هتتعمل على الويندوز موبايل هتشتغل على الموبايلات القديمه للنوكيا ولا لا؟ بس شكرا.
With Windows partnering with Nokia, okay, and when I think the question was, will the old ones work? Was that right? Did I get that right? Yeah. Symbian. What will happen to Symbian?
Yes.
What should developers develop for, and what will happen to the Symbian stuff?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and I think we announced in February this year that we wanted to bring Windows devices, to the market. The plan was to do that in 2011, and our CEO has said that we're increasingly confident that we will do so. In terms of the message to developers, whereas yes, Windows Phone ultimately will be a very key platform for us. Today, Qt and Symbian remains extremely important. We have more than 200 million customers using Symbian worldwide, and Symbian will stay via Qt an important development platform for a considerable amount of time moving forward. So I'd say both platforms are important. For now, Qt is definitely an important focus for this region, and in time it will move to Windows Phone. In terms of development kits, they're not compatible, we admit that, but we are looking to make it as easy as possible for our customers, for our developers, to port their apps from Qt to Windows Phone. We're publishing guides, we're showing how it's done, and actually our Nokia mobile lab that we've just opened in Smart Village, that's one of the things we're looking to do. We're looking to work with developers, show them how to work best with Nokia, and ultimately the transition from Qt to Windows Phone will be something we cover there.
Thanks, Tom. I'm going to take one more question from this side of the room. Sorry, anyone? Huh?
Well, today we announced the launch of our N9 product. Don't worry, it's not a plug, Con. He's looking at me like I'm doing a plug. But MeeGo is a very important experimental platform for us. And if you use the product, the N9, you'll see some of the benefits it has. It has Swipe UI. It's very nice. The design of the product is good. And we're going to learn from MeeGo, but moving forward, that's not the focus for us. The focus is Symbian and Windows Phone moving forward. The MeeGo product, I hope you enjoy the product because it's a very good product and yeah.
There's no future for it. Yeah, just enjoy it.
Enjoy the product, enjoy the swipe, enjoy the design, and we'll talk later on.
Just enjoy it and they will kill it.
You've been
and then enjoy while they kill it.
One more question and then we'll wrap this panel up. Okay, you were fast last time. Go on. Quick question to the panel.
So I'm going to go back to the operator issue because I find it really weird that the whole reason that why you use the operator billing is because of emerging markets or developing regions, and usually developers from those areas, they need the money more than countries that do have credit cards. So I see it really unfair to have 20% or like 50% to the operator. Why don't you guys, as companies like Microsoft and Nokia, work a deal with them where maybe it will be increasing percentage as the developer sells more. So at the beginning, that will encourage people to build apps, and at the beginning, you're not taking a big chunk of their money, and then later on, you can take the 50% or whatever. So.
Yeah, so just very quickly, with Nokia, you know, after tax, we look to pay 70% of the of what the consumer pays back to the developer, regardless of how they pay. So that's how we look to work on Nokia's store, and I can't comment for other
Gustavo
guys.
wants to say something.
On Windows Phone, when operator billing is involved, the 15% that the operator keeps is from the Microsoft side. The developer is not affected. 70% with operator billing or without operator billing belongs to the developer.
So Wikipedia is wrong then.
Yeah.
Change it. Yeah, you will.
Okay, you guys can take this outside if you want. I mean, we've got this guy. Take this guy and go out there and work it all out. I'd like you to join me in thanking our great panel for some good answers. And like Omar, tell us what's happening next.
I will do just that.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you all.